for coming here today to this center education training program. We chose you as, I would say, a perfect model of social entrepreneur in sport. And as well, you have a vast knowledge and experience in entrepreneurship, I think in a global sense. You are a PhD candidate in social entrepreneurship. And in addition, on top of that all, you are a co-founder of Sarajevo Marathon, which is an association that organizes mass participation events and also promotes healthy lifestyle. Can you tell us, why did you choose social entrepreneurship?
First of all, thank you for inviting me. Thank you for choosing this very, very and increasingly important topic, because social entrepreneurship today is becoming one of key pillars of the European Union economy when it comes to creating new jobs, when it comes to integrating different vulnerable categories into the group and bringing hope and better living conditions to different citizens of different countries within the European Union and obviously in our region as well. As for me, you made a quite well and accurate description. I'm both researcher, but before all, practitioner of social entrepreneurship. In the very beginning, I simply decided from one part to follow my heart. Running was my passion. Having lived abroad, I have seen how many opportunities, how many great things mass participation running events have created, and I wanted really to create one powerful tool for making a better life in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And on the other hand, I have also witnessed how poor living habits were, healthy habits of our citizens in the whole region, where it was 15 years ago, when the situation was much more difficult than nowadays. So I simply decided on one side to follow my passion. I loved running already in that time. And also on the other hand, I wanted to address this, I would say, triple gap on the market, if I may say so. And social entrepreneurship, because as you know, one of key differences is the purpose of creating revenues and money. You know, what do you do with that at the end of the day? In our case, we were consistently and all the time reinvesting all revenues, although we have been waiting for years and years before getting any revenue. You can imagine recreational running in our region was not popular at all. So we really needed to break the ice, to create the way people think in order to create the way people behave. And this is what we kept doing actually, you know. So the main purpose of our association was not to accumulate resources, but really to create a social value, to see happier citizens, to see better living conditions, to see healthier life habits, in order to create something better at the macro level, or if you wish, at the level of society. We were convinced that change started with individuals. So by making them better, it was our goal to see better and happier society. And then while advancing, if you wish, while practicing and going deeper into different activities, we were also able then to create much more, as they say in the economy, multiplier effects, much more spillover effects, because at the end of the day, when our events really grew and became massive, it had huge positive effect on tourism, on creation of crowdfunding platforms. Then we were able to finance many organizations that were educating youth, that were active in the ecology, protecting the nature and our environment, etc., etc. So we really made one very powerful mechanism, but before all, it was based on our love and passion for that.
You mentioned, of course, social value is the priority when we talk about social entrepreneurship, but there has to be some economic value as well. So would you say that you are sustainable now?
Well, in terms of sustainability, yes, the organization is sustainable, but we completely changed the picture. Now, if you wish, demand is huge. Before COVID, of course, when people were able to travel, etc.
Let's skip that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's skip those challenging conditions. But yes, it changed radically. The number of participants between the first and the last edition we had was multiplied by 50. You know, now we speak about in terms of thousands and thousands, and back then it was barely 90 people. And what is also very interesting is the fact that we had maybe 10% of locals at that time, and nowadays you have almost 50% of local people. And then what is also more, what is worth mentioning is also that we created another activity such as running club, etc., where we keep working with our citizens. Exactly, it is expanding, and then also we helped it growing in many other cities in Bosnia. We were the first one, and then we happily helped all of them, like Mostar, Banja Luka. We created regional networks to exchange good practices, etc. So it really became massive, and now today in Bosnia you have not later than 2 days ago you had one running event in a city that has 10,000 people, for example. So it's not only reserved to capital cities or others, but people are getting into that, you know.
Now let's focus a little bit on the social entrepreneur. So how would you define a social entrepreneur? And can you tell us from your perspective and from your personal experience, can an athlete be a social entrepreneur, a successful social entrepreneur, and to single out those skills that athletes already possess that they can transfer to social entrepreneurship as a plan for their dual career?
If we look at key competencies, a social entrepreneur is not that different from an ordinary and classical entrepreneur. However, it's more difficult for him because he's not here to accumulate profit. He is here to create social value, to really improve the life of people for certain aspects in society. He is here to make some important changes, and this is why it requires from him even more values, if you wish, even more attributes that he needs to possess. And this is where athletes and people that have been successful in any sport can really make and play a big role, because they have developed through their career number of qualities that are required, that are even necessary in entrepreneurship. Here we can speak about managing risks, we can speak about setting goals, we can speak about stamina, we can speak about not giving up, being focused on achieving results, etc. These are topics and skills that non-athletes pay and invest years and years to develop that, while athletes have developed that even while they were young, or then later in their career. So in that perspective, they possess, I would even say, a huge competitive advantage, which can really bring them very near the top of the class. However, from what they might have missed sometimes are business and managerial skills, because in social entrepreneurship we also have to have very robust, very high quality business model before all. You know, there shall be no compromise on the quality of services, no compromise on the quality of products, depending what they do. And they need to develop also, and they must make sure they have strong different also skills that are required for managing an enterprise, be it marketing skills, be it financial skills, be it leadership skills, because it's not easy to manage people. Athletes can tell you that those that have been coached, when they become coach, it's a completely different game. You need to be also psychologist, etc. So they possess really very important advantages, but they need to make sure that they have built up on their potential weak points, because they didn't have time maybe during their career to study economics, to practice business. So this is how they will balance, how they will approach the whole situation, and it can guarantee for some of them, and we have great successful examples across the world, where they really can become very successful social entrepreneurs.
Now, you already mentioned those characteristics and skills that athletes already possess, which makes them very good candidates for social entrepreneurs. But why do you think athletes at the end should choose social entrepreneurship and not entrepreneurship at the end?
Well, I would say from personal experience, it is so much more rewarding to count how many people you made happy rather than count how many dollars you made or euros at the end of the day, because it's a little bit superficial. Happiness cannot be bought, it shall be an internal call. Some of them really and absolutely want, and they are really oriented towards, I would say, financial aspects of that. Then social entrepreneurship might be challenging, but honestly, I've seen so many people enjoying and being so fulfilled while being successful entrepreneur, but creating a social value, changing life of people, getting some indicators in their businesses that are that measure performance, but not only business performance, but how many disadvantaged kids you helped, how many schools you have helped, how many lives you have changed, And this is the paradigm that the entire society should take today. When you see different crises in recent 10 years that have occurred multiple times, this is because in the economy, the minority kept accumulating so many wealth, depriving other people from so many assets, from so many basic human rights, from so many basic, I would say, decency in life. We really need to make shifts. So the social entrepreneurship is, I meant to say the future, but that's the present. In the European Union, millions of people are being hired, thousands of jobs are being created on a weekly and monthly basis. So I would say athletes should use their qualities to succeed in social entrepreneurship. And finally, also one reason, many athletes that I've met, and I think in general, also do come from, I wouldn't necessarily say poor family, but their life was not easy, And they have the opportunity through social entrepreneurship to help so many people and to make their access to sport, to life, and to everything else a little bit easier. And I think this is something that cannot be bought with money, because it makes you happy.
And I suppose athletes, especially elite athletes, can also serve because they're role models. And once they actually embark on social entrepreneurship, let's say that we might hope that this also field in our country and wider will be much more recognizable for what it really is. At the end, can I ask you if we were successful in transferring the message to athletes and letting them know why being a social entrepreneur is maybe the great next step that they should take? Can you give them some tips from your personal experience and the knowledge that you have accumulated throughout the years?
Yes, happily. Couple of tips that I can share also come not only from my 15 years long experience as a social entrepreneur, but also equally long experience as a consultant that have helped many companies improving their business plans, improving their business models. Social entrepreneurs, and especially athletes, if they want to go into that field, they shall not neglect the importance, first of all, of the business model, what we said. They really need to have very high quality product or service, and there shall be no compromise on that. And to have high quality product or service, they need to pay, or the salaries need to be more than decent, I would say. Because if you want great product, you need to attract great people / talents, and for talents you need to put some money on the table. So from that perspective, there are no nothing else can replace that aspect. Secondly, what we often see is that people are very much obsessed with their social entrepreneurship side of the company, and they neglect financial management, for example. And then they can bring their company into some difficult times, into some difficult and challenging periods. They can even run out of money, face the failure, and then this is not good. In that case, you didn't help not only yourself, but also different beneficiaries that have been counting on you. So from that perspective, once again, I would strengthen the importance of having solid, really business skills. Not everybody can know everything, but there are plenty of opportunities to learn nowadays, and also we need to make a decent assessment of our skills, make really SWOT analysis of myself as an entrepreneur, what are my advantages, where I'm great, where I'm good, and where my level is close to zero. Because if I have studied finances, I can be excellent in marketing and vice versa, just to quote some examples. So they need to be honest with themselves, and then take an assistance, either by learning new skills or taking experts from that field to boost the quality of the business model. And the last and the most important would be for the end, really they need to follow their passion. You know, when you do something with love, when you are deeply convinced of something, you will overcome all fears, you will find the energy to overcome bureaucracies and all possible complicated systems that we are having here. So from that perspective, I would say it's by far worth investing their efforts and energy.
Mr. Erol Mujanović, it was a pleasure talking with you today. Thank you again for this wonderful interview, and best of luck.
Thank you very much, and good luck to all athletes.